The Amish have been a group that has never been quite understood by many people. Being known for their simple living, plain dress, and resistance to the adoption of many modern conveniences, they have been pushed aside as a subgroup that is ambiguously stereotyped. Stemming from a traditional subgroup of the Protestant Mennonite Church, the religion gives a choice to the offspring of a family to stay Amish and live a sheltered life or to go away from the church. Wilbur and Liz Miller from Goshen, Indiana, give some insight about their previous experiences in being Amish.
When my mom and dad moved in from Missouri, they couldn't find a farmhouse that they could afford, so they moved in Middlebury, in town. Well, of course, the Amish didn't approve of that, but we lived there anyway, and we had electricity. And one day, my dad's brother-in-law found out that if they had a fire in their house or whatever, it was not covered with the Amish insurance because we lived in town. And Dad said, well, that just is not going to go. So they went down and joined the Mennonite church. And I was 15 then, so I never really belonged to the Amish church.
And I remember it was only the second school I went to. Being Amish, and a lot of the classmates were not Amish, so I was really hesitant in going to school here, but I did. And of course, from that time on, I kind of decided I wasn't going to stay Amish. And also, I knew at that time already that I wasn't going to go through high school. At 16, when you're Amish, which a lot of kids do, their dress changed, their haircut is shorter. And of course, we go out on a weekend, Saturday night. I really figured, though, that when I quit school, mid-year more or less, that they would come after me. But they never did. They never come after me. And of course, I think they knew that I was going to quit anyhow.
Coming out of the small town of Yoder, Kansas, Roy Kime recalls what it was like to be an only child in an Amish family and what he did to escape the Amish conformity.
I was born in Kansas, the middle of Kansas, wheat country. Sort of grew up as a loner and went to a one-room country school, 8 grades, 1 teacher, mile and a half from the house. Anyhow, at 16, a friend and I decided we needed to have a job for the wintertime. Wintertime jobs were hard to find in that area. And so I rode to Harley-Davidson to Indiana. My mom was the one that would sit me down and had a little mother and son talk. And she asked me to be a Christian, to join a church, be a member of a church, and follow what they believe. And she was open-minded enough to not state that there had to be a buggy and a horse involved. Looking back, my mom was praying that things would work out for me, and it did. It didn't just happen. It was meant to go the way it did.
The period of time that Amish adolescents go through is known as rumspringa, meaning running around in Pennsylvania Dutch. This begins around the age of 16 and ends when a youth chooses baptism within the Amish church or decides to live a worldly life. This rite of passage is defined by letting the adolescents engage in rebellious behavior and resisting or defying parental norms. Amos Miller, another resident of Goshen, Indiana, speaks about his experience with rumspringa and the act of turning over to a new world in his hometown of Shipshewana, Indiana.
I grew up like any normal Amish kid until I turned 16, and then when I turned 16, I wasn't allowed to just take off like I did, but I did. You know, it's kind of the age when you just do it. I mean, I don't know, I can't explain why, but that's when you really go out and you start drinking, partying, and didn't get into drugs until later. But doing all the things that wild kids do. Well, you know, and then you turn 18 and that's when you start driving. Turn 21, about 21, 22 is just when I really had to make a decision on whether I should go back or Amish church, other church, whichever, and I chose the other route, and it didn't go over real well. But you know, I don't regret any decisions I made. So it's a spiritual reason more than anything else for me, because I felt like I couldn't live the way I wanted to with them, and you know, it's religion, man. You know, I consider myself a Christian now, but I could not be in that. I just couldn't, because they rules and all that. It's crazy. And plus, you know, one of the biggest things that I should say probably is they teach you, or I was taught, that if you don't join and come back, you're very likely going to go to hell. And that's something you have to get over and realize that that's a lie.
A native of Middlebury, Indiana, and a student at Indiana University, Jana Bender also experienced the Amish lifestyle right up until her junior high years, when her family turned away from the Amish traditions. Jana tells us about her experiences with living in today's society, and if there is really that much difference in being Amish or not Amish.
My family, or my siblings and I personally, didn't go through it because my family converted from Amish to non-Amish before we were 16, but both my mom and my dad went through that. So, I mean, it wasn't like a huge drastic change for me personally, because my family was never like as strict as most of the Amish church was, but some of the changes were that, I mean, we had a car and we had like electricity all throughout our house, and I mean, we had telephones. Yeah, we were able to cut our hair and dress freely as we wanted.
Stemming from Switzerland, Jacob Ammann started the Mennonite schism that resulted in the Amish Mennonites as they are known today. In the 18th century, many immigrated to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and as of right now, they have settled in as many as 24 states across the U.S. There are also Amish populations in Canada and Central America, but it is thought about 80% are located in Pennsylvania, Indiana, and Ohio. The puzzling factor is that out of all of the Amish traditions, there are still many who choose to turn English. As we have seen here, the people that skewed away from the church have done so for their own personal reasons and have lived their lives as they have pleased.